Okay, so first we're going to start with Forrest Gump. If you're familiar with the Mandela effect topic, you know that you or at least remember that Forrest said life is like a box of chocolates. That's something that everyone seems to remember. However, the movie doesn't say that.
I could eat about 1.5 million of these. My mom always said life was like a box of chocolates.
Okay, so you heard there him say life was like a box of chocolates. However, I found, doing some research here on YouTube, that actually there's some behind-the-scenes footage where he says what you're expecting him to say.
Forrest Gump starts as a boy, and then he grows to a man who's someone who grew up in the Deep South. And he's limited, in a way, by having a very low IQ. But he's a very decent man. And that's what he is as a character.
Would you like a chocolate?
Oh, well, thank you.
I found the book first about 1985. And I fell in love with it. I read the first line. And the first line of the book is, being an idiot ain't no box of chocolates.
My mom always said that life is like a box of chocolates.
You see? There you go, hearing exactly what you remembered. And this is in the behind-the-scenes footage, not the main movie, but you remember the main movie having it this way. So, obviously, in your memories in the past, this was different. This was not behind-the-scenes footage, but actually part of the real footage for the movie. Okay, we're going to go next to Star Wars. You have Luke. Luke, I am your father. As you remember, this is at least what you thought it was. But actually, according to the movie, it's no, I am your father. And actually, what we're going to see here is some evidence that actually, no, it really was Luke, I am your father, in the minds of some of the actors and also some other footage as well. Okay, let's see. We have this footage, and then we also have... Okay, let's watch this first. This is James Earl Jones.
Jokes. I heard that you would tell the joke before every production.
Yeah, we had a tradition of telling jokes right before, at places, right before curtain. The filthier the better.
Always naughty, either ethnically naughty or sexually naughty.
Not for morning TV.
Well, we've got one. Should we do it?
Yeah,
okay. What does the redneck Jedi say?
No, you ask that because I'm a redneck or because I'm Jedi?
No, because we're both rednecks.
Okay.
But
the redneck Jedi says, Luke, I am your father and your uncle.
So you can see right there, he even remembers it as Luke. I am your father. And of course, there's other clips as well. There is one from, I think is it Tommy Boy? Yeah, it is. Okay, here we go. Here it is. This is from another movie.
Luke, I am your father.
Unfortunately, that guy died as well, Chris Farley. For the third one, we have Interview with a Vampire, as you remember it, but of course, now it's Interview with the Vampire. But according to these other broadcasts, no, that's not the case. It was Interview with a Vampire. And you'd have to ask yourself, how could they get it wrong in this show? Okay?
Ladies and gentlemen, your host for the 67th Annual Academy Awards, David Letterman.
You know, someone once said that acting is the enchanted wand that turns words into magic. Thankfully, we've had that person dragged out to the parking lot and beaten. I'm talking about words like, I could have been a contender. Here's looking at you, kid. Life is like a box of chocolates. All shining examples of how a few simple words become cinematic legend. It's another blockbuster year for Hollywood. The motion picture Interview with the Vampire.
The motion picture Interview with the Vampire. You know, the motion picture Interview with the Vampire. You know,
but this category has been slightly altered this year, ladies and gentlemen, and it now goes, let me get this right, Best Original Score or Performance by a British actor in a fluffy romantic comedy set in the south of England.
Oh, shoot. Honey, you're bitter.
No, I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter. I'm not in the least bitter. I'm just interested in the way it's done. And
the nominees are Elliot Goldenthal for Interview with the Vampire.
Hi, I'm Neil Jordan, and I'm here to introduce Interview with the Vampire, a movie about the saddest vampires you'll ever see.
I wanted Interview with the Vampire to be a departure. I wanted to, first of all, I always thought the vampire was the interesting one, and I wanted to know what went on behind the scenes. So I wanted it to be a departure. I wanted you to fall in love with the vampire and see things through his eyes.
Interview with the Vampire, as every good story probably had 50 versions. You know what you can do. And I don't think you're going to find one as solid and well done and serious with the material as the movie that we did.
I was sitting one night in my office at home in Berkeley. And as far as I know, became the real hero of Interview with the Vampire. He decided that he was going to get this thing made and he was going to draw all the elements together.
I use the books as a reference for me, and you know, you have to read them, especially Interview with the Vampire, because from Louis' point of view, you have to read it.
Okay. Should be pretty obvious that all of them said Interview with a Vampire. The woman that wrote the book, these actors, the Oscars, pretty much everyone said Interview with a Vampire. But now it's written, if you just go to IMDb, this is Interview with the Vampire. And it's not just that. You know, you would think, okay, maybe they just somehow changed the pages on the internet so that things were different. But actually, no, you can't say that, because if you go pull out the video, if you had purchased it, it will say Interview with the Vampire. So it seems very, very odd that if we have somehow stepped into another dimension, as the Twilight Zone says, why is it we still have these clips that say Interview with a Vampire? Why do we still have Luke, I Am Your Father from James Earl Jones? And why do we have a behind-the-scenes footage from Forrest Gump where he says life is like a box of chocolates? Okay? It just seems a little strange, right? Of course, we're not done. We're going to go through 10 of these, and every single one of them have these kind of evidences, okay? With Fruit Loops, let's see here.
this is happening with all kinds of different products right now.
Okay, let's see if I can find where it starts. Fruit Loops Nutrition. See, everybody searches it as Fruit Loops this way, right? And he's going to show clippings from newspapers.
For quite a while now, so any mistaking that, you know, it's not certainly intended, but that is the current name that has been for quite some time.
I turned off the volume here. It's very interesting how many newspaper clippings says Fruit Loops spelled F-R-U-I-T. Most of them being in the 90s. So perhaps this is when this occurred. And we're going to show some exact dates when things happened as well, by the way. Okay? I'm going to show you an established date within months of when one of these effects took effect. So you can see here, obviously, a lot of different newspapers and internet archives have it written Fruit Loops as you would expect it to be written. You can see there's a lot more. I'll link to these videos in the description so you can check them out. Obviously, there's a lot of different evidences here. It just keeps going on and on. There's a lot of them. And it keeps going and going and going. So I think you get the idea. There's a few. Okay. This one I just learned about today. Smokey the Bear. I thought this was kind of interesting. Apparently he's not called Smokey the Bear. He's called Smokey Bear. But I did find a clip where he's called Smokey the Bear. Okay. This is an old clip. This is from, I think it says here, didn't it? What year?
Once there was a little boy.
I think it's 1960. Yeah, it's 1960. Okay, let's start here.
Brown with mud and overflowed its banks. This set him hungry where all the mud came from. I'll tell you, said Smokey the Bear. Last summer, a careless camper started a fire that burned up a whole forest.
Okay, so you heard that he was called Smokey the Bear there. However, that's about the only clip I could find where he's called Smokey the Bear. Okay. All the rest of them say Smokey Bear. This one starts in here. The song.
He's a bear? He's a bear. A real bear? Smokey Bear. Wild, wise, and dangerous, and so it's up to us to be.
Okay. I never heard him called Smokey Bear. That's why I thought it was kind of interesting. I have another few here I reference once this thing kicks in and I can get to it. Okay, let's try this.
Tonight, but does Smokey really need help? Oh, yes, indeed, Koopa. We're having lots of forest fires because people haven't been following Smokey's ABCs. May I have the poster, please? Oh, certainly, yes, sir. Here we go, right here. Good, there. A, always break matches in...
Okay, I thought there was one in there. There's one over here, too. 1938. Let's get started a little early.
Fires. Hello, my name is Smokey Bear, and this is...
Okay, so you see there, obviously, Smokey Bear. But that first one said Smokey the Bear, and it's from 1960. I think it started slightly sooner than that. And I think it was the 1950s. Was it the 40s or 50s? First Smokey the Bear. So there are some references to Smokey the Bear still. It's kind of interesting. Now, this next one, number 6, is pretty crazy. Okay, Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. Obviously, a lot of people remember it being Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. However, you know, a lot of people couldn't find any, I guess, footage for it or evidence that it was Mirror, Mirror on the Wall.
Real black.
But here we go. We have a woman that's showing one of her books, okay, where she goes through it and shows that it actually says Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. Actually, she shows two things. So she has Snow White, Seven of the Dwarfs here, and she shows the date. Where's the date at? Okay, so here she goes. 1973. So she's showing us 1973, and then, let's see here. 1973. Okay. Queen had a magic mirror. She kept asking, she looked into the mirror and asked the same thing. Mirror, mirror on the wall. So it says it, and it doesn't just say it once, okay? It says it also another time. in the same book. Let's see here. Where's the other one? I think it's here. Yeah, here we go. If I can get it to pause in a good spot. There we go. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Again, same mirror, mirror on the wall. This is from 1973. So clearly, Disney did put out books that at least said mirror, mirror on the wall. Although the movie says magic mirror on the wall. And that's not it either. So she also put out a second video. Apparently she collects a lot of Disney stuff. And she pulls out, let's see here. She pulls out some sort of, I don't know what this would be, a jar or something. Or no, a glass. Disney villains. Was it copyright? I can't even see it. This is mirror, mirror on the inside of it. Okay? Mirror, mirror. So clearly, there was things that Disney put out. Perhaps these books weren't changed, but other things were changed. See, that's what's so interesting about this, is you'll have these little evidences that it was that way. You know, some behind-the-scenes footage, maybe some random book didn't say magic mirror on the wall. There's this one book that still says mirror, mirror on the wall. It's very interesting. And of course, one of the older ones is the Berenstain or Berenstain Bears. And I want to hit on that one next. Okay. And actually, there's a lot of evidence that it was Berenstain, S-T-E-I-N. And on this one, it was at the 219 mark. Okay, here we go.
And so I used the Internet Archive and 80scartoons.net. February 17th, 2001 was the first snapshot they took of this website.
Okay, so what he does is he goes ahead just a little bit and he shows how it changes. Now this is a snapshot of this particular website, 80scartoon.net, February 2001, February 17th, 2001. Okay? Now watch this. Check this out. It says Berenstain there, right? He's going to show another snapshot. Yeah, here we go. Okay, where did it go? Let's just let him talk here.
Berenstain Bears.
Okay, let's...
February 17th, 2001. The next one here, April 7th, 2001. Also Berenstain Bears. Right, April 7th, 2001. So we'll go forward to the next one. Aha! Berenstain Bears.
Okay, so when it was August 5th, 2001 is when it changed. On the snapshot for the website, 80scartoons.net, but back before that, April 7th, it was Berenstain Bears, 2001. So we're talking between April and August, it changing to Berenstain. And it's not just this one title on this one page of 80scartoons.net. It's actually every instance of this Berenstain or Berenstain word on the website changes between these two dates, because he actually goes through and shows where the same thing occurred here, where it's Berenstain and then it becomes Berenstain on the exact same, all the words just change. Okay, so that's very interesting. Snapshots of website history where it shows the change happening in 2001 for this Mandela effect. Okay, and actually there was another thing here I had. Let's see, what was this one? Let's pause the sound there. This one starts at 6:20. Where's it at? Yeah, this, obviously you've probably seen this picture. TV Guide, Berenstain. the book Berenstain. That's a very common one. But we have lots of websites that have it Stein, while the book says Stain right next to it, which I think is very interesting. You have a lot of these type of effects where everybody puts it as Stein, and then the book right next to it, the picture has Stain. Right, exact same events, exact same details. So that's basically it for the Berenstain. Of course, there's other videos here on YouTube, but I thought those sort of show the evidence of it changing. Now for number 8, we have Chick-fil-A. And actually, I believe this one changed as well. I thought it was kind of an interesting one, where I think it was CHIC, as this guy thinks.
Place many times when it was CHIC-FIL-A, and it wasn't windows on the side of the building like there is now. I'm going to go have a talk with these guys. I've asked some people, say that they'd like to see me get crazy and tell people I'm from a different reality where things have changed, things were different.
He's in Chick-fil-A asking the manager questions.
Question for you. Yes. There's a lot of people that are confused about your name, the name of the company.
Chick-fil-A.
So, did you guys go through a name change? You did not. As far as you know, the company never changed the name.
Nope.
This is going to sound crazy, but for the longest time I would drive by Chick-fil-A on the way to the gym, and it was spelled CHIC-FIL-A. And I swear to you, that's going to sound crazy. I just had to come in and ask you guys because so many people are remembering it that way.
Okay, so that he's asking the manager, and she's not aware of this. Okay, and then here we have some evidences. From newspapers and other images online. It's very interesting. Some people remember it IK rather than C. And it just keeps going like that. And I remember it being CHIC-FIL-A as well. I don't remember when it changed because you don't pay attention to stuff like this generally. You're just like, oh, okay, maybe I just thought it was spelled wrongly before or something. I don't know when it changed, but I do remember when it was this way. And I guess for some it was CHIK. I don't know what to think about that, but I don't remember it ever being CHIK. I just remember CHIC. And then it seems like recently I noticed that it was CHICK. So, but there's lots of newspaper clippings. There's a lot of different images. There's people selling on eBay that spell it incorrectly. Lots of people. And then, of course, there's the Volvo logo. The first time I saw that someone pointed out to me that the Volvo logo had changed, I was pretty shocked at what I saw because I used to work as a mechanical engineer at a company that created semi-trucks, okay? And Volvo is well known for creating semi-trucks, or maybe for some they don't realize that. They think they maybe just make cars. They actually are very big into making semis as well. I used to work at International, or it's called also Navistar, and we had in the back all the competitors' semi-trucks, and there was like several Volvo trucks, and we would go out there regularly and look at them. And I know that the logo was not that way. I would have remembered something like that. It's very blatant. Okay, and I saw this video where this guy covers. I'm trying to pause it if it ever pauses. Apparently, I can't pause it. Pause. Okay. 148. Let's see what we got here.
Okay. When was this Volvo logo changed? Like, when did the arrow get put in here?
From the very beginning.
Are you kidding?
But it's always had the arrow.
Yeah, the arrow's in it. Going through the Volvo.
Okay, so they were saying that it's always had the arrow, but at one time the arrow used to be inside of it. Okay. And this guy, of course, he can't believe it. The guy's going around asking these questions. Can't believe it. But he found some interesting sketches from design artists, Volvo design artists, that have it the way I thought it was, which is very interesting considering it was the design artists. They would obviously know how the logo would be. Okay, so like I said, I used to work at a semi-truck, medium-duty / semi-truck company, and the artists are well acquainted with the logo on whatever company they work for. Okay, they're not going to screw this up. So I thought it was kind of interesting they didn't have the arrow on the artist's sketch, the guys who design the designers. So there's some sketches from other people as well. Okay, for number 10, we're going to be covering Mandela, Nelson Mandela himself, or they named the whole effect after, and his death in prison. And here we have George Bush saying that Nelson Mandela died. Okay, so I thought this was an interesting proof in of itself.
I thought an interesting comment was made when somebody said to me, I heard somebody say, "No, where's Mandela?" Well, Mandela's dead because Saddam Hussein killed all the Mandelas. He was a brutal tyrant that divided people up and split families, and people are recovering from this. So there's a psychological recovery that is taking place, and it's hard work for him, and I understand it's hard work for him.
So, I mean, if Mandela never died, Bush would have never said that. He would have never said that all the Mandelas are dead. He was playing off the concept of him knowing that Mandela was dead, and he's making his speech off that fact and making his principle about those who are Mandelas are dead as well. So I thought that was a very interesting proof, that a video proof of the president saying it. Okay, so we had, I mean, a lot of these examples are very in your face. The Forrest Gump one, I mean, they actually have some background evidence, some behind the scenes evidence of him saying life is like a box of chocolates. Okay? And Interview with a Vampire, there's several. Even the Oscars themselves, they would not be getting the title wrong to a movie at the Oscars. Okay, it just seems really ridiculous to assume the woman that wrote the book on the topic that they made the movie off would get the title wrong. That the Oscars, more than one actor would get the title wrong. And then there were several other clips there as well that said Interview with a Vampire, and in newspaper clippings and for Fruit Loops, and it just seemed interesting to me that you can actually find evidence that it was the other way, whether it be images, video footage from television, or newspaper clippings, or whatever it might be. And I think that gives irrefutable evidence that there indeed is some sort of effect that is really occurring here.